Salute the flag and have a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to the May 23rd, 2019 meeting of the Southeast Delco Board of School Directors. Dr. Scott, may I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Forbes? Present. Mrs. Gallagher? Present. Mr. McBride?
Present.
Ms. Monroe?
Present.
Ms. Peter Coe?
Excuse.
Dr. Wilson?
Here.
Ms. Woodfolk?
Present.
Ms. Scott Robinson?
Here.
Ms. Phillips?
Here.
Dr. Butts?
Present.
Mr. DiOrio? Mrs. Irons?
Present.
Ms. Harris Johnson?
Present. We now have a presentation from our kindergarten center.
In order to see the presentation, board members will either have to look back or sit over here or over there. So the presentation, part of the presentation should be up on So we're going to relocate, so the kindergarten center, part of the presentation, so be in back of the board. So we are to relocate and allow the kindergarten center to do their presentation.
Go ahead.
Just speak from that. We have the slide.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Colleen Burke. I am the principal of the Kindergarten Center. I welcome you all to our presentation tonight. We're so fortunate to have a large audience to see the wonderful things that we're doing at the Kindergarten Center. I have with me Mrs. Jackie Schlegel, who is our, we implemented this year at the Kindergarten Center and in many other schools in the district, the PBIS program, with the support of the Delaware County IU. Mrs. Schlegel is one of my PBIS coaches, and what that is a positive behavior support plan in our school, and many of your children probably in the other schools have spoken to you about it, but through the support of our curriculum director and through our DCIU, we're able to start this program in our school, and we want to share with you the wonderful things that we have done so far this year at the Kindergarten Center. So we're going to get started, and you can see some of our children in action.
So PBIS stands for Positive Behaviors, Interventions, and Supports. It's a system-based framework. There's an order to it. It doesn't look exactly the same anywhere. So PBIS at the high school looks a lot different than PBIS at the K Center. It places an emphasis on positive climate while also being preventative and proactive. It's for all staff and students. So there's a trickle-down effect. If the staff is happy, then our students are going to be happy. So students learn their positive behavior expectations from a matrix. The staff and the PBIS team of the K Center came up with the matrix. There's two expectations in our building. The first one is to be safe, and the second one is to be respectful. Our matrix takes the expectations and then breaks them down into different locations and environments in the building. So if you look at our matrix, you can see that on the left-hand side, you'll see the be safe and be respectful. That's not right. You can see our expectations on the left-hand side. And then across the top, you'll see classroom, hallway, cafeteria, playground, bathroom, and bus. So those are all of the different learning environments that we're looking for students to show positive behavior. Within each of the expectations, there's 3 behaviors that we teach in those learning environments. These expectations are taught through things called cool tools. And what we did over the summer when we were getting ready to bring the program to the K Center, some of the staff made videos of how to behave in those certain learning environments. So the first thing that we did was what not to do in those learning environments, and then how you should behave. So what we're gonna do is just show you an example of one of those videos. All of the students see these videos at the beginning of the year during a kickoff assembly, and then we review them anytime there's a break in the school year. So after Thanksgiving, right after Christmas break.
Today, the PBIS team talks about hallway expectations.
You're not walking this, walking this yourself. Yes, yourself. Walking this, walking with the girls, please walk down to the door. Make the waiter stay on that line. Good job keeping your hands to yourself. Nice quiet waves.
Warning kindergartens, we need to talk about being safe in the hallway. We need to always walk on the blue line. We need to go straight to our destination. And we need to follow the directions. We need to talk about being respectful in the hallway, using voice level 1, whisper voice with teacher permission, keeping it.
All right, so we have a small technical difficulty while we're getting that figured out. I'm going to just talk a little bit about that video. It's important that students know how to behave, and we have to teach them to do that. We can't expect kids to come into a classroom already knowing how to read. We have to teach them. So it's our job also to teach them the behaviors. This video helps them do that. They can see what they're not supposed to do, whether they're flossing in the middle of the hallway or high-fiving and running back and forth. And then we teach them what they are supposed to do. So you also heard Mrs. Burke at the end of the video express the expectations that we expect from those students. So that's language that we use all of the time in the building so that they can always hear those expectations and they know that that's what they're expected to do. Because I know there's stuff with the cameras and microphones earlier, but it didn't work out that way. I also thought we were going to be comfy and cozy in the seat room where everything would be okay. That didn't work out either. Thank you. And it gives them instant reinforcement to do that right thing again. So in the hallway, when we're asking kids to stand on the blue line, we're not just giving them a kinderbuck and saying, hey, good job. We're going to say, I love the way you're standing on the blue line. That's an expectation.
Hallway expectations. Being safe and respectful in the hallway will help you earn kinderbucks.
Here's the rest of the video. So here's an example of a kinderbuck. So this is an example of a kinderbuck and what it looks like, and this is that the instant reinforcement that the students get. At the end of each week, we have an incentive assembly, and the kids have all of their kinderbucks. They put them into a bucket, and then Mrs. Burke or I will pick names from that bucket, and those students will be our stars of the week, and they will get a reward. All of our stars of the week have either badges that they wear or crowns that they wear for the whole week long, all through the school, so that if Mrs. Burke sees a star student, she sees their crown, she can recognize them for doing the right thing. The star student incentives, some of them include popsicles with Mr. George. Mr. George is our awesome, awesome janitor. All of the kids love him. So do we. An ice cream party, they can build their own sundae. We did cookie decorating. They've done parachute play. And then the PBIS team does fundraising to offset the cost of this stuff. So we just recently did a Rita's night and a Little Caesars pizza fundraiser. And I think some of our board members were there for that.
So as we said with the Stars of the Week, every week there's star students at the K Center, and they are randomly picked on Friday, and we have a Star of the Week assembly that we do with the students where they get to do some dancing to various videos for about 10-15 minutes. Okay. And then we choose our names that we're going to have for the Stars of the Week. The children have embraced this at the K Center. They're so excited to get those kinderbucks. They're so excited to wear their Star of the Week crown. We were able to talk to them about always having different chances and really learning to being safe and being respectful gets you to earn those kinderbucks, and actually complimenting your fellow classmates when they are the Star of the Week, and giving everyone an opportunity to do that. This is a little bit about our data and how we determine things. PBIS is a process in every building. We are just in the beginning phases of it, but some of the things that we've done through that framework is our data collection. And what that does is help us determine where we can help students in different places. For example, if we're seeing that students need more support when they come in the morning, based off our data that we collect, that's where we know we need more staff members, or we need more positive recognition, or any of those things. It helps us drive everything. Just as in academics, the positive behavior through PBIS data drives how we handle our students and the climate of our school. So before we started PBIS, we had to take a school-wide self-assessment survey. We did that at the end of last year in June, and then we had to do it again this year. And if you look, you can see based on the data from last year until this year, you can see that there was about a 50% jump in
in just the one school year alone, when you put together all of the different areas that we were surveying. So data, management, violations, weapons, expectations, things like that. So just in 8 months, our data has jumped 50%, and it's been a much more positive environment.
So again, just continuing a little bit about our data, we needed to do a self-assessment survey. Our faculty and our staff were surveyed based on, how we think things have worked out this year. And because of the recognition in our scores on the 53 items on this data analysis piece that we did, we are able, because you needed above 80%, right, Mr. Schlegel? We needed above 80% increase in how our staff and other faculty view our school. And because of that, we can apply for state recognition this upcoming school year because of how well the PBIS process has been working in our building with Fidelity. So again, we just want to say, we want to get on with the rest of the meeting here, but PBIS has been a huge part of our building this year. Language has been a huge aspect, how the staff talks, how the students speak with each other. Rather than saying, stop running in the hallway, we're saying, be safe in the hallway. We're talking about being safe and respectful, and it's just become common language among everyone in our building. And I believe, as the principal, and through the data, my staff supports that it's made a huge difference in our building. I'm so thankful of my team, the PBIS team that has worked so hard, and the rest of my staff and students to get where we are today in such a positive school environment in May. So we want to end tonight. We appreciate your support while we had some technical difficulty here. But we want to end tonight with a few words from our students and what they think of PBIS in our case center. And thank you very much, but I'm going to let that run. It's just loading.
By helping your friend. What are our case center expectations? Awesome. What's a way that we can be safe or respectful at school? Share. Would that be safe or respectful? Respectful. What is a way that we can be respectful in the cafeteria? Can you tell me how we're safe in the hallway? What's the way that we can be respectful in bed? What are the PBIS expectations at the K Center?
I want to thank you again, everyone. I want to thank Mrs. Schlegel, who put this video together. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the K Center for the presentation this evening. I think it was very, very nice for all of us to see. As board president, I don't have any comments at this time. Please note that persons wishing to address the board must be a resident or an employee of the district. Provide your name and address and complete the yellow card, which is located in the back of the room. Do our student board representative have a report for this evening?
Good evening, members of the School Board of Directors, administrators, teachers, students, and community members. Here are your Academy Park High School announcements.
On April 26th, the junior prom was a blast. This year's junior prom was at the Lorenzetti Ballroom. Everyone was dressed to impress.
Mrs. Socrenti's Creative Writing 2 class has been working on the genre of children's literature. The students have been actively writing their own children's book. On May 13th, Ms. Socrenti and her students put their skills and talents to use. The students read their children's books to Darby Township students. The visit to DTS was an awesome learning experience for both the DTS students and the Academy Park students. Thank you to Ms. Socrenti and Mrs. Hudson for this collaboration opportunity.
On Thursday, April 25th, 2019, the 9th grade took its annual trip to the Independence Seaport Museum. Furthermore, the Lantern Theater put on its educational workshop production of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. The play was wonderfully done with minimal sets and an intimate cast. After the performance, there was a Q&A session for the students to ask questions of the cast on their acting experience. While Academy Park High School was only one of the 3 schools in attendance, our teachers received many compliments on the respectful nature of our students.
The junior class trip to Hershey Park will take place on Tuesday, May 28th. The cost is $65. There is one bus, so the trip will be available to the first 50 students who are eligible and able to pay. Permission slips are in room 245 in the library. See Mrs. Tallarico or Mrs. Cluza if you have any questions.
On April 29th, the boys tennis team played well at the Del Val Doubles Tournament, which was hosted at APHS. The team of Calvin Keys and John Stevens dropped a tough quarterfinal match to Penwood. Abdul Thali and Charles Spohr rallied from a set down to win a long 3-set match over Chichester before losing to tournament champion Penwood in the semifinals.
On May 1st, the division title slam was a great. After 3 rounds, we won the slam, which forced a tie for the first place in the division. The tiebreaker was a slam up, and B and Deidre killed it. But we held our heads high because the team earned a bye into the semis and are headed straight to the championship on May 24th at the Kimmel Center from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And on May 7th, Academy Park hosted a poetry slam night from 6 to 8 in the auditorium.
On May 3rd, members of the school choir attended the Career Day at the Academy of Music, sponsored by the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees. The students had the opportunity to see designers, carpenters, electricians, riggers, stage managers, performers, makeup, costumes, and hair people. APHS students greatly enjoyed the experience.
On May 2nd, the Academy Park baseball team pushed their record to 500 with a 5-5 with a tough fight against Chester. The team pulled off a 6-4 win, and the team only recorded 6 hits but used time hitting to pull off the victory.
Congratulations to the district musical team. The Seussical musical was fantastic. The district musical participants certainly had some challenges, faced adversity, and endured a transition period, but congratulations anyway.
Today, the class of 2021 went to Six Flags Great Adventure.
The week of May 6th was Happy Teacher Appreciation Day. Well-deserved sweet treats were available for all to enjoy on May 7th. Ms. Jetter sent out the annual Teacher Appreciation Thank You letters for this year. The PBIS team made contact with the Sonic fast food chain company, and they provided free slushies for teaching faculty. Thank you to all the teachers for all that you do.
On May 7th, the Academy Park baseball team won their game against Penwood. The team scored 11 unanswered runs after the Patriots took a 3-2 lead in the second inning.
On Friday, May 24th, the Academy Park Interact Club, in conjunction with the American Red Cross, is hosting its semi-annual blood drive. Becca's blood drive will be held from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the AP Auxiliary Gym. Also, the Interact Club is collecting pennies, nickels, dimes, etc. until the end of May.
The spring concert was amazing. Our kids did a fantastic job in preparing and presenting their best to their family, friends, teachers, parents, and community members. At the concert, a member of our community was overheard stating the following: "This is a testament to how hard Ms. Cubbage and Mrs. Muller worked to prepare the students."
On May 20th, Miss Hamilton's last hurrah for the annual fashion design field trip to Lancaster took place. The students enjoyed having the opportunity to experience a fashion design field trip. Thank you, Miss Hamilton, for the many years of planning and organizing for this opportunity.
The annual sports banquet is scheduled to take place on Tuesday, May 28th at the Oaks Ballroom from 6 to 9 p.m.
Keystone examinations were administered and facilitated at APHS from May 15th to May 17th. Gift card incentives were in place for students who were in attendance, completed the tests, and gave their best effort on the Keystone examinations. The following are the scheduled days for senior final examinations: May 28th to May 30th, full days of school. Underclassmen final examinations are on June 5th to the 7th and June 10th. The makeup day underclassmen final examinations will take place on June 11th.
Last night was Senior Awards Night for the class of 2019. Congratulations to all the award and scholarship recipients, and thank you to all the faculty members, community members, and local organizations and foundations for their continuous efforts recognizing and supporting our seniors.
Congratulations to Kayla Harley. She has been selected for the 6th ABC Best in Class. The event takes place today. Please congratulate future physician Kayla Harley for this phenomenal achievement.
The PBIS leadership team had the pleasure of presenting at the 2019 Pennsylvania Positive Behavior Interventions and Support Implementers Forum in Hershey. The presentation, Big Kids Like Prizes Too, focused on using the PBIS framework to positively impact the climate and culture of the building.
Academy Park High School has been selected to participate in the Gilder Lehrman Institute's Hamilton Education Program on November 7, 2019. Thanks to a partnership between Hamilton, local donors, and the Gilder Lehrman Institute of American History, APHS has been offered American history and/or related high school classes. Exclusive participation in the program combines founding-era classroom resources, document-based student projects, and a special student matinee at the Kimmel Center for the Performing Arts. Thanks to Ms. Burns for researching and making this opportunity available for HBHS students.
Once again, Poetic 101 will be competing tomorrow at the championships at the Kimmel Center from 6:30 to 8 p.m. If you guys want to come, you have to go see Mr. Krenti to make sure you get a permission slip because she's not allowed to take you on the bus without your parents' permission. And if you want to come, see the Philly Slam League Instagram account to get the link to print your tickets because this year we have to have tickets to enter the building. This concludes your Academy Park High School announcements.
So we're to go a little off agenda because I'm slightly concerned the students will want to leave, although you're more than welcome to stay. So 2 student reps have been with us this entire year. So they show up at every board meeting, and just want to acknowledge on behalf of the board and myself that they have spent a lot of time with us. We appreciate their service, their dedication. Hopefully Cheyenne will be back next year with us as a school board rep, but Nydia will be not coming back, right? Okay. So on behalf of the board, I want to indicate you will be graduating, planning to attend Liberty University, has worked hard succeeding at Academy Park academically, distinguished honors. She's a member of the Art Poetry Club All-Star for the Philly Slam League and is very active in the Mega Nights. We congratulate you on your graduation and wish you continued success whatever you do. And thank you very much. We have a certificate signed by the board president and myself, and also a little card signed by all the board members. Thank you very much. And Cheyenne, as I indicated, will be back. She is a junior this year, returning to the board for her senior year. She's also an active member of the school community, has been involved with the PennDOT Regional Innovation Challenge this year, represented our school district and our region at the state capitol at Harrisburg. Junior flower show, grew an orchid that did quite well. I believe you did one of the orchids that I saw. Participated also in the Anti-Defamation League's 12th Annual Youth Leadership Conference, Exploring Diversity and Challenging Hate. So thank you very much for your time with the school board, and we look forward to next year. And as Madam President usually announced, you're more than welcome to stay, or you can go. So that's your choice. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have the special recognition of the 2018-2019 retirees from the Southeast Delco School District.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brian Wilson. I'm the Director of Human Resources for the Southeast Delco School District. And on behalf of the school board, and our superintendent and all of Southeast Delco School District employees, administrators, the entire universe of Southeast Delco, and certainly our students who has been the direct benefits or recipients of the folks I'm about to mention, their efforts. I want to congratulate the entire group of people that we're about to recognize this evening for a career of giving, a career of serving the students and the community here at Southeast Delco. That being said, tonight we take a few minutes out to recognize our staff members who have retired during the 2018-19 school year. The staff members being recognized tonight have worked a combined total of 271 years for the district. Yes, absolutely. I started to take a dig at one of my favorite people and saying all and half of those were Mr. Young's, but that would be just taking a dig at my buddy there. But that being said, each retiree will be given a pin set, an engraved pin set, recognizing their years of service to the district, as well as a certificate signed by the school district itself. And we will invite each retiree to come up and receive their gift. To be clear, this is not just teacher recognition, it's educator recognition. And I like to point that out at all times because, yes, although some folks wear the title of teacher because that was their vocation, other folks wear the title of classroom aide, other folks wear the title of custodian, other folks wear the title of technology assistant, what have you, secretary, what have you. At the end of the day, everyone being recognized here this evening is a retiring educator, because everyone who works in our buildings, works in our cafeterias, works in our classrooms, works outside, whatever they do, they have played a significant role in changing the lives of our students and impacting them, teaching them something, and they learn from that every day. Whether or not it was that cafeteria person who was saying walk, not run, whether or not it was, our building custodians that had a smile every day and was demonstrating positive work ethic and doing a job and taking pride in that job and still having a smile every single day working with our students, that's an educator, teaching our children something. So I just want to drive that home and thank you to all of these educators, regardless what professional title you held. So a round of applause for all of you. That being said, let's get on with recognition of the specific individuals. We have a group of folks who are here today, and I'm so excited. And then we'll also get into those who could not make it this evening. That being said, first up, would like to go ahead and recognize Miss Holly Ciderone, a kindergarten teacher, 33 years of service. Continuing, Miss Lorraine Connell, attendance aide, Darby Township, 19 years of service. Congratulations. Miss Marianne Maxson, attendance aide at the Harris School, 26 years of service. And I didn't mention, by the way, when we announced Mr. Lorraine Connell. Last but not least of our folks who are present today, Mr. Harry Young, Director of Buildings and Grounds, 19 years of service. Don't kiss me. We're cool, not that cool. Moving right along though, we have other retirees that we want to go ahead and recognize, and major folks impacting our students just couldn't be present this evening. So help me go ahead and recognize, and I will also say the schooling years for them as well. Miss Melanie Brown Carney, art teacher, DTS, 20 years. Miss Maria Galbraith, Secretary, Academy Park High School, 31 years. I have to hold the students back for this one. Miss Yvonne Hamilton, Family Consumer Science. Academy Park High School, 19 years of service. Miss Margaret McFillan, elementary classroom teacher, Sharon Hill School, 34 years of service. Miss Carol Miller-Burrell, elementary, DTS, 17 years of service. Miss Sarah Morris, food service, APS, 17 years of service. Academy Park. And last but not least for this evening, Miss Janice Villano, our building aide, Sharon Hill, 23 years of service, people. So again, thank you very much for helping us recognize those very distinguished educators. And we wish you well, we wish them well. Have a wonderful evening.
So similar to the permission to the students, being that the employees and former employees are right down front, I'm not going to take offense if you quietly get up out of your seat and you can move further in the back or you can stay right here. It's your choice, but given the amount of cards we have, it will take some time to get through the next part of the agenda. So just a heads up.
No. Right. Dr. Butz, do you have a superintendent's report?
Briefly, I just want to highlight, if you come to any of the June meetings, I believe we're to continue to have Kindergarten Center artwork on display, looking over for guidance. So if you come to any of the June meetings over at our Educational Service Center, in the boardroom is some wonderful work of the Kindergarten Center, including beautiful butterflies, caterpillars created by the students at our Kindergarten Center. So please come over there. I will not have any additional items to report at this time. I will be giving some information about the budget and some individual information about items on the agenda later on. So, Madam President, that is my report for now.
Thank you, Dr. Butz. Now we're going to do the motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted?
So moved.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the 18/25/2019 regular board business meeting? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
So moved.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Are there any questions on the bills? Yes, Ms. Gallagher.
No, it looks like it works.
There we go. You got it.
Okay, Madam President, thank you. I just have a comment. There are many charter schools and cyber charter schools in the greater area that we serve. And we have our own cyber charter school. So if we did not have to put out tuition for each child, for each student who attends a charter or cyber charter school, we would not have to put out $9,000 for each one of those students. Now, if we do have, and I shouldn't say if, we do have some students that we pay up to $20,000 to $24,000. It's simply because they need extra help. If we did not have to put out $20,000 to $24,000 for each student, or $9,000 for a child to attend a cyber, not even a charter, a cyber charter school, we probably would be able to balance this budget. But because the legislature saw in its wisdom to pass a law that said that each school district in the state of Pennsylvania had to pay the tuition for any child that was sent to a cyber or cyber charter or just plain charter school, and they must provide transportation. Okay, here goes the buses everywhere around. If we didn't have to put out all that extra money, it would really be a big help for getting together our budget. And we certainly do not want to raise anyone's taxes. Everybody sitting here is a member of this community, and we don't want to raise anybody's taxes, including our own. So there is a resolution that we want to pass, and we would like our neighbors here to help us. Later on in the meeting, I think the superintendent will share that. But I thank you, Madam President, for allowing me to just say that. Usually I go through the bills one at a time. I did go through them, but I'm just so aggravated about this. I thank you for listening.
Do I have a motion to approve the bills for payment in the amount of $4,538,393.29?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now that just lets you know what our bills are for the month of May. Every month, we have bills to pay that add up to this in the district. Questions or new business items? Are there any questions on education items 1 through 5?
Madam President, I would like to highlight one of the items under education. Item 1 is approve the submission of the request to Pennsylvania Department of Education for curtailment or ending of programs or alteration of the following programs. This action item does not mean that we are necessarily ending or changing any of these programs. It does mean we are notifying the state that unless additional money becomes available through the state, we have to make reductions in programs. These are some of the programs we are considering. The items in terms of reading intervention programs, I would highlight in each of the board's budget book, under tab K. So in your budget book under tab K, we do have each of the items indicated under reading intervention program. I do indicate the majority of our intervention teachers are grant funded through Title I or other grants that we successfully received from the state or federal government, including 21st Century Community Learning Centers grant. Therefore, any additional reduction in reading intervention program will be difficult, but we do have to consider it. There are a couple positions that we would look at. However, as I have indicated in starting the reading intervention program in the district, it is one of in my judgment, most important programs that we have in the district. We will very carefully consider if any changes would be needed, but we are requesting from the state additional funding so that we can continue the reading intervention program, special education program. The difficulties would be potentially a reduction of 1 to 2 positions in our special education program. These reductions would be very difficult with the realities of our increased enrollment. However, if there is not additional revenue, we do have to meet expenditures, have to meet what the revenue is available. In terms of elective course offerings, potential cut here at the high school of 2 positions. These positions would be very difficult due to increased enrollment here at the high school. We are at the highest enrollment at this time of year that we have had any time in the recent my recent memory of the high school. Definitely since we did the renovations here, beginning in 2011, we are at the highest level since that time. Any changes in our elective programs would definitely impact what our students can take and also impact greatly what they will be able to learn prior to the end of their high school experience. So I would caution on that. We just saw a wonderful presentation about the full-day kindergarten program. Any reduction in our kindergarten program, going from a full-time program to a part-day program, would have major impacts on our students. We started our full-day kindergarten program back in 2007, 12 years ago. The high school seniors this year was the last class who did not go through our full-day kindergarten program. They were a part-day kindergarten program. Our seniors next year that graduate from us next year will be the first students that have gone through our full-day kindergarten program and through all 12 grades after. Any change in our kindergarten program likely would simply increase the amount of students who do not come to Southeast Delco School District. It would likely increase the amount of students that go to charter schools because they would continue to offer full-day kindergarten programs, and therefore, any reductions in our kindergarten program would be extremely difficult. The full-day kindergarten program started in 2007, entirely funded by a grant, I believe entirely funded, may not be quite right, but almost completely funded through a grant that was at that time available. The grant continues until the most recent budget year. It was incorporated in the current proposed budget from the state into what Ready to Learn is now into the basic ed subsidy. It now covers less than half of our cost for the full-day kindergarten program. Therefore, it is an unfunded mandate or program that was highly recommended by the state back in 2007. We have continued it. It has a significant impact on our students. It is needed for our students to be successful. The state needs to continue to fund that program. Item E on the list is our safety security staffing program. As everybody in this room is well aware, these are critical positions for our school district. We continue to need to have safety security staffing in our buildings. We have partnerships with local municipalities, including Sharon Hill and Collingdale, to provide school resource officers for our school district. However, they were started through grant programs that the state funded for a year or two, $90,000 for 2 years for Sharon Hill, $90,000 for 2 years for Collingdale. Those programs are no longer grant funded, so they are entirely being picked up by the local district, and they have a major impact on our budget. However, they are critical for the safety, security of our students, our staff, and to maintain our buildings. Item F and G, I am to combine the after-school programs and our athletic programs. They are critical for the well-being of our students to participate day in and day out at our buildings. It is part of a high school, middle school experience to be able to compete in sports, whether it be girls lacrosse, middle school football, high school football, middle school cheerleading, high school cheerleading. Many of our students, one of the key reasons they do well in school is because of some of the after-school activities that we have and the athletic programs that we have. So any reductions in those areas would be extremely difficult. But the programs after school and on weekends that have the most expense to the district are also our most popular. Rising Scholars, our musical programs, they cost the district considerable money. They would not balance the budget though, but they are items we have to look at. We need additional state funding. Rising Scholars is definitely a program that helps our students to become college ready. Our musical program did a wonderful production of Seussical this past month, and it needs to continue every year going forward. Any reductions in our after-school programs, any reductions in our athletic programs would likely mean there would be a significant impact on students not attending Academy Park and choosing to go to another school. Another school potentially could be a charter school, and that therefore would cost the district additional money. We have no choice to pay charter schools. We do have choices in the programs that we run if the state is unwilling to fund them. So the justification for this action item is now to provide notice to the Pennsylvania Department of Education, Governor Wolf, and our legislators that we are struggling financially. We need the state to fund our programs appropriate, similar to the funding that other districts throughout the state receive. About 60% of our tax dollars from our communities go to other parts of the state. Actually, I said that wrong. I said it reversed. About 40% of our tax dollars from Southeast Elko, from Delaware County, from the Philadelphia area, goes to pay for services in other parts of the state. We need those services here. We need that money to stay in Southeast Pennsylvania, to fund our school districts, fund our services here. William Penn, Upper Darby, Chester Upland School District are some of the districts in Delaware County that have similar funding issues. The justification for this is we have to give notice to the state that we are looking at changing programs. I provided a justification to local media and to the school board. It says, due to the district's fund balance at the end of 2018-2019 school year estimated to be below $2 million, or less than 2.5% of current expenditures, the district must end or significantly change programs to not exceed anticipated revenue, unless we receive additional funding from the state. That's a little background to this action item. I will also want to speak about the budget, which is a later action item under finances.
Thank you, Dr. Booth. Again, are there any questions on education items 1 through 5? Are there any questions on finance items 1 through 7? Are there any questions?
Excuse me, Madam President. So finance is the second area I need to speak with. The finance areas around the proposed general fund balance budget. No tabs yet. The item 2 on the agenda and its impact. The board has received over the last 5 months a series of documents that administration has prepared in the budget process. If you look under tab A, Tab A is, there's two documents on tab A. One is the modified budget timeframe, and the second document is the original budget timeframe. The original budget timeframe had adoption of the proposed budget in April. Obviously, we did not achieve that, with the final budget being adopted now. Obviously, that's not the case. The modified budget has had the following meetings. In January, we adopted a resolution not to exceed the Act 1 index. February, we had a committee of the whole with a budget work session about revenue sources. March 21st, we had a committee of the whole budget work session about expenditures. There's documentation about those meetings in tabs B, C, and D. In April, we had a committee of whole that had a discussion about the entire budget and the realities, what the proposed budget would look like, and that we would be delaying the vote. That decision was made between April 11th and April 25th, which was the board meeting. The proposed budget, at that time, a meeting was added, May 9th, special board meeting, which was less well attended. It was held at the administration building, ESC. So a special meeting was held May 9th to discuss the budget. May 16th, we had a committee of the whole session and a continuation of the review of the budget. We are now at May 23rd. I'm recommending we adopt the proposed budget. I am also recommending asking the president to call for a special meeting, June 13th, which is the second Thursday, I believe, in June, for a budget review and continued discussion about where we are at with state funding and where we are at with local funding and program needs. Right now, the location for that meeting would be in the boardroom at the Educational Service Center. June 20th would be the committee of the whole meeting with the adoption of the budget, June 27th, which is near the end of June when we have to adopt a budget. So that's the process that the board has gone through. This has been a slow, deliberate process, and all along, we have had a deficit of close to or over $2 million. And that is with a Act 1 or a 3.4% increase in local revenue taxes. Any reductions in the local revenue taxes in the budget would have to be reduced also with expenditure reductions. Any additional funding from the state could impact on the amount of funding we have to take up locally, and also any program reductions we would have to do. My comments to the board is under tabs B, C, D, E, F. All of those were items that we have talked about, reviewed over the last several months. Same way with tab, actually I'm going to highlight something in tab C. So if you go to the very back of tab C, there's a item that looks like this. So right before you get to tab D. Am I correct in the tab? Yes. So tab C, right before you get to tab D.
There you go. That thing.
The key thing. And so we have nice colored copies up here. I left back in the back about 100 copies of this about reductions. I've used this, I borrowed this from the school district of Lancaster. The superintendent at the time was Pedro Rivera, and he utilized this stoplight system. Pedro Rivera is now the Secretary of Education of Pennsylvania. One of the key things in the takeaway from this budget process is not about any reductions that are easy. That would be the green light or the top reductions. Reductions that can be done with some difficulties, but likely a minimal impact on student achievement. Yellow light reductions. Reductions that can be done with some difficulties, but may have an impact on student achievement. We have completed over the last 10 years every green reduction, every yellow reduction that the school board and administrators could locate. We are clearly in the red zone, at the red stoplight in terms of reductions that we are considering. The reductions will have a significant impact on student achievement and will have significant difficulties in implementation. So I would highlight that. That's the reason that handout was in the back, just so I knew I was to call the board's attention to it. There are no easy decisions with this budget process. As I indicated already, the budget documents are at the end. The agenda item under finance, item 2, is under tab I. That gives the key information of what we are requesting for the budget in overall revenue sources and overall expenditure sources. Sorry, I forgot to provide a budget book to our solicitor. We do have an extra one or two. Under tab J is the information that was provided at the direction of the board to local media and also to the Department of Education. This was given notice that we would be submitting or requesting approval now for the curtailment of programs. It also gives notice of adopting the proposed budget and the reality that we cannot adopt a final budget that has a $2 million deficit. We will not be able to make ends meet come this time next year if we adopt a budget with a $2 million deficit. As was highlighted by Board Member Gallagher, we are recommending the board adopts the resolution about Senate Bill 34, the PA House Bill 526. Under tab L are the two resolutions for the cyber learning programs and the statewide cyber charter school funding reform. The final item that was highlighted in our information provided to local media was the reality about the K Center. Kindergarten Center, back in October, I believe, we had a beam crack in the ceiling of the multi-purpose room. That beam throughout this year has not been repaired. We are recommending the board approve repair of the roof this summer at a cost of $245,950. $245,950. That is expected to be almost completely or completely covered through our insurance company. Otherwise, the repair could not be done. So that is the other item that was provided to the local media. I do appreciate the turnout here. The funding for the district over the last decade. We have increased our enrollment by about 500 students. That is an entire new elementary school. Our elementary schools are right around 500 students in some of the seven. In most school districts, an elementary school is substantially smaller than 500 students. Our enrollment has gone up. We have not been able to increase the number of teachers. We have actually reduced from up over 330 teachers to down under 300 teachers. We have also reduced support staff from support staff significantly. Our total employment staffing was over 700 individuals prior to the 2010 school year. We are down around 600 staff members now. Significant reduction. I also provided information to the community and to the board around our enrollment. Also in terms of testing. Also in terms of charter school enrollment, our charter school enrollment has gone up from 235 students in 2010 to 355. That is an increase of 120 students. The overall enrollment has increased by about 500 students. Proportional across the state, over 8% of students attend charter schools. That is similar to our percentage of around 8% of our students attend charter schools. I've also highlighted tax rate and our fund balance, which is estimated to be below $1 million at the end of this year, which is critical in terms of being able to run a district. You do need to have a fund balance. You need to be able to get through the lean months of July and August before tax revenue and state revenue comes in. The difficulty we're going to have this year likely will be getting through the end of the month of July into the beginning month of August before tax revenue comes in and state revenue comes in. So more information on that. That's some of the information that has been provided to the school board, some of the information that was on the back table to cover what is involved with the budget process. This is not a process that just began. It's a process that began for the district back in December. Look at the budget beginning process in December, have been holding meetings, and will continue to hold meetings to come up with a budget we can live with, and a budget that hopefully has additional revenue from the state. One of the critical things that we need everybody in this room to advocate for and on our behalf is contact your local legislators, Senator Williams, Representative Deloso, Representative Donatucci, Governor Wolf, and indicate the concern you have with the curtailment, ending, changing of programs. They need to hear from us that we need additional funding. We are one of the districts that if every dollar went through the funding formula, there's a funding formula that was adopted 3 years ago from the legislators. and the governor. If everything went through the special ed and regular ed funding formula, we would get well over $6 million additional. We would not be here today having this discussion if we were adequately funded through the regular ed and special ed funding formula. That's the items I wanted to highlight. There are multiple pages that have been provided to the board over the last 4 months. This information, much of this information has been shared with the Teachers Association and the leadership there. They have been working in partnership with us to advocate for additional funding. They have gone to meetings that we have had with state representatives around school funding. They will continue advocating. This is not the board versus administration. This is not the board versus teachers. This is all of us as a school community need to work together so we can get funded adequately. Madam President, that's my statement.
Thank you. And I would just like to say at this time, a couple of weeks ago, a couple of the board members, accompanied by the superintendent, went to Harrisburg. We spoke to those legislators that Dr. Butts had named. Unfortunately, they were not in their office, so we didn't talk to them directly, but we did talk to their assistant. So we have been working hard as a board on this budget. And we just want you to know that we just don't sit here and decide this is what we want to do. We're very concerned about our students and all of the employees in the Southeast Delco District, along with the community. We don't want to raise taxes. We do not want to raise any taxes. We do not want to cut any of the activities that the students do during the course of the year. We do not want to lose any teachers, anything that goes on in our district. We need you, the community, to come out, to call those legislators. They have offices here in Pennsylvania that you can visit. You can get their phone numbers. You call them on the phone. You tell them how you feel as a parent. The children, our students, the young people who are sitting out here in this office, you can also do the same thing because this is affecting you. It is affecting all of us. And if you do that, and if you tie up their phones enough to get their attention, we voted them into the position that they're having now, and it is their responsibility to now meet with us and then send us the funds that we need to keep Southeast Delco School District running safely and with the finances that we need for all of our children and students and employees in this district. So if you could do that, it'll only take a few minutes. The phone numbers here in Pennsylvania, in Harrisburg, either one of them, call them. Tell them how you feel. If you can't talk to them directly, you can talk to whomever answers that phone. And then next day, call them again. Keep calling them until we get an answer to this. That's all I have to say on this. Thank you.
Speaking on item 2, Dr. Butts, this item is asking for us to approve this budget with a tax increase. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Finance.
I just want to make a quick comment. So I know they mentioned call. You can also email. You can also email all those people too.
So you can, just send them a ton of emails of, because some people don't like to call, but I know that in the past, even the calls, especially, you can do the local offices, but I would suggest Harrisburg, because the more and more that you call Harrisburg, it's really they're gonna notice, but also the emails, so.
Madam President, right down here. I also suggest that you not only call your legislators, which may be Democratic, I suggest that you email the Republican legislators. Let them know what the needs are here in our district. Because right now that the fight is against party lines. Right now the Democratic legislators are at the minority. So it's not an election year for them. So it's not in their best interest to approve a higher budget for us. So you have to let them know that this is what we need in our area. So please, I'm going to reiterate that it is so necessary that you call or email. They are keeping call logs from each area, and depending on the number of calls and emails they get, that's when they start taking action. So we really need to do this. And not only yours, Senator Williams, State Representative Maria Donatucci and Dave Deloso, but some of the other ones as well. It's really important. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, are there any questions on finances? Are there any questions on human resource items 1 through 9? Are there any questions on policy items 1 through 5? Are there any questions on property items 1?
Madam President, I just have a question on property. Could we be given an explanation of how we came to the conclusion of how much to pay for the installment of the roof, which is dearly needed in the kindergarten center? Could we have an explanation from the
I'll
superintendent?
attempt to use this mic. So the kindergarten center, we were able to use a quote process, meaning that we did not have to go out to bid. We were able to go to construction companies that we knew had the capacity to do the work this summer. And they were able to guarantee that by the start of school, prior to the end of August, that they could complete the work. We requested quotes from 3 different companies. 2 companies chose to provide us quotes. We were comfortable with the company. We were comfortable with either, but we decided to go with the lowest quote, and it will allow us to replace the roof, including the entire roof on the multi-purpose room, which is a benefit because the roof is also quite heavy, and newer technology allows us to reduce the weight of the roof and hopefully avoid any additional problems with that roof. So they have to insure it, they have to certify it, and make sure that the engineers agree with everything. So that is part of the reason this company was chosen, and also we went with Bonnet Associates and a structural engineer to be able to work up the dimensions for the roof. The multipurpose room serves as our cafeteria at the K Center, and also where they do assemblies and can do some recess type time where needed, but it's the large gymnasium type center at the K Center.
Thank you, Dr. Boots. Again, are there any questions on property? Number
Yes.
one, item one.
Yes, I do have another question about the property at the kindergarten center. Is there a guarantee or warranty on this roof?
Yes, the expectation would be, provided we're replacing the entire roof, there would be a warranty that would come with it. And that's the other nice thing, replacing the entire roof, which was an alternate bid that actually came out to be favorable to the board and to the district. So that's why we did the alternate bid, which it appears is cheaper to replace the entire roof structure with newer technology being used versus trying to retrofit, repair a roof with technology from 25 years ago or 20 years ago. Okay?
And isn't the insurance going to pay part of it or almost all of it?
We've been in dialogue with the insurance company. Our expectation is that insurance will be picking up all or very close to all of the cost.
Thank you.
Thank you, board. Now, are there any comments from the public regarding agenda items? And I'm sure that's what most of you have been waiting for now. When you come to the podium here to speak, you have 3 minutes. And when you come up, we are going to ask you for your name and address. And if you go past the 3 minutes, then unfortunately, we're going to have to stop because we have a lot of cards here and everyone wants to be heard. Thank you.
Time, please. Okay, so we're going to indicate a couple names. I'm going to put the speaker, the microphone back over here. Keep to the time limit. We will cut you off. Keep to the topic. Don't go off of agenda items. The first 4, Rachel Doyle, Eric. Your time is up. Erica Hickerson, Alicia Melendez, and Tom Weber. So if you would just line up here.
Good evening. My name is Rachel Doyle. I live at 2006 Heather Road, Fallcroft, 19032, down in the village. As I stated, my name is Rachel Doyle, and I have an autistic son in the 5th grade at the Del Cross School in the Autism Support Program. I'm here tonight to voice my concerns about the proposed curtailment or restrictions in special education programs. Most students in special education have IEPs that is geared to their specific needs, Current funds, cutting funds will inevitably make the school district non-compliant with the students' individualized IEPs. Most of these students have developmental delays that require a more personalized education. Proposed cuts would make it near impossible for children to get the services and therapies that the state requires schools to provide for a quality education to all students, including those but not limited to those with special needs. Currently, special education classrooms are already beyond capacity, and there are not enough teachers or classrooms to provide services to all the students requiring special education, such as kids going to your cyber schools that you keep stating if we don't have the services available here. Cutting services is not the answer when there is already a need for more teachers, full-time aides, and smaller classrooms. Proposed cuts to special education will not only allow my son and others like him to receive the quality education, I already read this, that the state requires. In Southeast Delco School District, if they cannot, Southeast Delco School District cannot provide these services to my son, I will be forced to look outside the school district, which inevitably would cost you more money if you cannot provide these services. So in the end, cuts to special education is not beneficial to the students who are currently enrolled in the Southeast Delco programs. More funding is actually needed, not less. Most of these teachers, I see donor choice are getting basic school supplies from Donor's Choice. And then the teachers also in the special ed programs are buying their own classroom supplies constantly, so that they don't put that expense on us as the parents. They're struggling. There's not enough staff as is in some of these classrooms, and they're larger than recommended class size. I asked the school board to reconsider its proposed cuts to special ed, and I thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you.
My name is Erica Hickerson. I live at 120 Clifton Avenue on Redwood Street. I also have a child in the ASD program at Delcroft, and I have a son at the K Center as well. And being a new parent in the district, I was very concerned at these items as both of my kids have various educational needs. And I think some of my most pressing concerns is what is the district doing to, one, educate special need parents on how to advocate and or guide them through the process of getting outside agencies that will be funded by the health insurance to provide the assistance that the classroom needs, that will cut costs on you guys to be paying for those people to come into the classroom. Like for myself, if I bring my son in a TSS, he can automatically be eligible for 24 hours of services, but the school district has to partner with an outside agency and make sure that the parents know how to sign up for the medical assistant, make sure they have a special needs medical assistant application, which will ensure that their education services will never get cut off. That includes ABA services for those kids. If we can't afford to have behavioral supports in the school, how about the kids that have the mental health disorders or the special need disorders get the ABA services put in place? That will also be a health insurance that will be paid by either private insurance that comes from the parents or from medical assistance. These kids have rights, and as the school district who is actually teaching these parents how to advocate for the rights that they have as parents and for their students, this is a cause that can kind of be navigated around if we actually put in places social workers who can educate the parents to go out there and fight for things that don't add additional costs to the district. My other concern is if the proposed budget goes through and we do see that these programs get cut, what is the planning committee process going to be like to ensure that it doesn't impact the students to the point where reading intervention becomes a problem or special education becomes a problem? Because I know, like I said, being a new parent in the district, I've only been at my home for 3 years, and I don't want to feel like I have to pay for my son to go to school or look for the charter school setting. Has the district thought about partnering with the local charter programs to provide a variety in education and give parents a better option of what it looks like in education? Because the classroom sizes are entirely too big, and I think there's a way that we can partner with these systems instead of trying to fight against them.
Thank you. I would just comment, we are utilizing access funding for some of the programs, but we do need to work with parents so we can expand that. But I did take notes. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Alicia Melendez. I live in 300 Marshall Ave, Conningsdale, PA. Sorry, I have allergies. I'm a parent of 3 children with special needs, 2 of which who have autism, and my youngest here has speech delay. I moved from the Philadelphia School District to Southeast Delco District for better education for my children. My son, Ruben, who attends Harris, has Asperger's. This means that he has difficulty with social skills and boundaries, appears to be very much like a typical child who very much wants to fit in. He has been able to increase his self-esteem and confidence with getting along with typical children much better. His needs were not understood and addressed until we came to this district. My son, Connor, who attends Delcroft, who also has autism and he gets full services there, has speech delay. Although he's able to understand so much, he is unable to express his needs in a typical way. Since moving to the school's district, the amount of special ed support that he has been given has helped him to learn how to speak in order to get his point across and use an assistive technology device that can help him to express himself. When he is unable to use his words, he's verbally has increased, his verbal has increased, and his ability to follow directions met academic demands. He has skyrocketed since he moved here. He feels so good about himself that people have communicated with him and understood him better. I have never seen my child so happy and willing to cooperate and learn since we have moved here. Can you imagine how you would feel if you could not connect with others through speech? My daughter here, and then will be going to the kindergarten center in September. It has speech delay and used to be very anxious around others until we moved in this area. She would not look at others and at times would even cry. If you came too close to her, she has been able to blossom and share her ideas and feelings with her teacher and her family.
I'm sorry, what's your time?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We do appreciate it. And I will attest to the progress that has been made. Quite amazing.
Yeah, I just
Mr.
wanna-
Weber, and then Ms. Maria Jenkins, Krima, and Sierra Coleman.
I just wanted to say thank you for bringing all that up. And we usually don't get a perspective of someone that moves here and gets to tell us the difference and how their kids have grown here. And I loved hearing that because I know my niece was in the autistic program too. So I know that's like one of the shining parts of Southeast Delco. So just thank you for giving us that perspective on someone that's coming from another district and gets a lot out of this district, even as we are right now. So thank you.
Thank you. Tom Weber, 1523 Bayard Avenue, Fall Crawl. I just have a couple of questions, I guess, about how you're going to decide on which programs, if you need to cut programs. I know you mentioned about certain programs being more expensive than other programs, so is that going to be your deciding factors? And if so, if those programs can help support themselves, would that help keep those programs to stay functioning in the school district? I know the musical because I'm extremely involved in that, and I've had 5 kids go through the program. Supports about 45% of its own weight. So even though it's an expensive program, the school district, for the most part, just supplies the salaries of that staff, and then the musical program supplies everything else from costumes to sets. All that money, the rights of the show is all recouped through ticket sales and fundraisers. So that, and I'm not sure, a lot of other parent organizations, that has a very strong parent organization, and I know the football team does, and some of the other sports do also. If those parent organizations can step up and work as hard as that program and as hard as they do, would that help with some of the decision making? If that program could become, 75%, we support it, and you're only supporting 25%, would that be able to, make that program or any other program stay in function? I think there's a lot of parents and faculty and students in this room that want to keep everything that they have the way it is or make it better. And I think their heart is in these programs that they all work with or are part of. So I think they would, they're willing to step up also. I think, what else has the school district done to, recoup some other money? I know that I come in here on Saturday afternoon or Sunday morning to work on the sets. These lights are on 24/7. That's probably why those are blinking. 24/7. I mean, 9 o'clock on Sunday morning, their lights are on. There's nobody else in the building. I'm the first one here. Why are those lights on? Can we look into those type of things? I know a lot of the hallways are on motion detectors, but there's got to be a lot of wasted, energy costs. Can we look into some of that? As far as these cyber schools, and 2 of my children have either gone through or are part of that program, and from what I hear, it's costing the school district money. But at the same time, if you're going to cut staff and security, what entices me to bring one more statement and I'll walk away, okay? What entices me to bring my students back to this school?
Unfortunately, your time is up. You were only allowed 3 minutes per speaker.
Right.
So we want to give respect to
Okay.
other speakers.
So-
Thank you. We hear what you're saying.
We hear it.
Thank you for your comment. The deciding process is to be ongoing over the next month. It definitely is an item that the board will continue considering. Additional funding is definitely needed from the state, and also if programs can help, we will be looking at that also.
Good evening. My name is Kramer Manselay. As a former student of the Kindergarten Center, a gifted student, track and cross-country athlete, president of the African Students Association in the class of 2020, and a lifelong member of the Southeast Delta community, I believe that these programs and many others included in Part 10, Section A, Point 1 of the agenda should be supported by the school board and their new budget. These activities provide students with a sense of school pride and overall unity as a community with just like bonds being forged on the over the course of the school year. And the fact that I'm able to stand up here and speak in front of you lovely people is just to show and testament to the skills that I've learned over the course of my 3 years here at Academy Park and of my entire career at this school district. My passion really is showing up every day to school and just being motivated by the ability to be part of such a great community through sports, my special education, and my extracurricular activities aside from those. And from kindergarten on, and I really hope that the board will be able to support and approve myself and all of the children coming up for years to come.
Thank you. I do want to recognize, I'm not sure if you can hear me, I do want to recognize Karimon was received an award the end of last month, and was part of our High Q team, and was highlighted as the recognized for High Q throughout the county. So thank you very much for your activities, and I did enjoy our conversation. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sierra Coleman. I'm at 536 Fallcroft Avenue. So what I would like to come here today is to make comments about the pressing matters that are on this list that would like to be cut, alterations, or curtailment. After-school programs are so important to the students. The students need to have something to look forward to at the end of the day, not just classes. Learning is so important, but also, like Cremo said, building bonds is so important too. Going out there, meeting new people, forging new bonds, and trying new things. We need these things. Athletic programs, while it is a competition, you get to meet people from other schools, learn good sportsmanship. You learn so many amazing lessons in sports and after-school programs, and our safety. While we did have an issue this month about safety, I can speak for myself and say I was very scared. I can speak for these students and say safety is such an important thing. I may not be able to speak on behalf of all the students, but I would like to speak on behalf of the students here that we care so much about our safety and how we can stay safe and keep people safe. The special education program. Students need that special, it's in the name, special needs. They need these special care and attention that they can't get in a regular classroom setting. It's so important that we take the time to help not only students who run in a regular paced classroom, but students who need the extra time and attention. And electives just help build us. We learn so many important things in school, but while we do electives, we can learn so many things in school that also want to form our majors and our careers. We learn basic knowledge, but with electives and other after-school programs, we can learn above what we're supposed to learn because we want to go there to learn, we want to go there to have fun, or just have a good time, or just learn more and excel. And that's what these programs offer for us, for students just to become better people. And if these get cut, then I don't know what I would do. I just go home and go on my phone. And while my phone is very attentive, it's very attracting, I love the human interaction here too. And I'm so proud to be an Academy Park student. No matter what they say about us or what we do, this is our school, and if we, the students, don't represent it, then who will? Thank you.
Maria Jenkins. Maria Jenkins. Okay. Tony Scott. Ian Nadine Flowers. Brittany King. And if your name was called, if you would get ready at the mic.
Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Nadine Flowers. I have a son here at Academy, and I have 2 girls at Delcroft Elementary. When I saw the agenda, I was quite aghast because I couldn't believe that for this school district, these were things that were being proposed. My main concern is mainly one, what was the basis on which the school board decided that these particular programs would be cut? Because the 2 students who are just here and the 2 students who are sitting at the board exemplify to me what the school district is all about. Students who are expressive, students who are confident, students who are not afraid to go out there and speak. And so I think the school board is facing a dilemma, but more so all of us are facing a dilemma. And I'm wondering, what are some of the ways in which the school board is thinking that we collectively and individually can push the agenda of the school board in such a way that these programs are not cut? My son is a rising scholar, so I was quite surprised to hear you say that is one of the programs that could be cut. He's also on the track and field team. He was also doing football. And so I am worried, I'm saddened, and I'm quite perplexed because one of the reasons I moved to Southeast Delco was because of the level of education that I heard was here and that I have seen in the past 3 years. Now, I'm from a culture where we embrace education. I'm from Jamaica, and we have a very high educational standard. So when I came to Southeast Delco, that was what I was expecting. However, I'm beginning to be fearful. I'm wondering if I will need to move and pull up roots, because I'm not going to stay in a school district where my children do not have what is apparently now a luxury of being able to be in after-school programs or be part of athletic programs and so on. So I'm wondering if there are any tools that the school district could suggest that we can help you to help us. Someone mentioned before that if we could perhaps contribute to the well-being of some of the programs that the school district could tell us. Because, for example, I would love to know what is the dollar figure for some of these programs, because that perhaps could help to inform the decisions going forward. And finally, I would like to find out if it is that the district decides that programs will be cut. Okay, very well.
Thank you very much. We did jot down some notes, and I do appreciate the comments about the school district and coming here. This is definitely a dilemma. It's definitely an item that we are taking serious, and you have to reach out to your legislators. You have to reach out to Governor Wolf. Mr. Scott.
Good evening. My name is Tony Scott. I live in Collingdale, 621 Andrews Avenue in Collingdale. I've been in Collingdale now since 2000, 19 years. I started coming to school board meetings in 2000. I didn't just start coming. And I would like to see more of you guys come on a regular basis. I'm also a facility chaplain in the city of Philadelphia in the prison department. I'm responsible for 982 inmates, 18 of which are juveniles. The majority of them can't read. That's why they're there. They say they have to survive and they can't read, but guess what? They have diplomas. Yeah. Now I'm sitting here listening to all this grandeur about special programs, and I know we need all that stuff. I may have unrealistic expectations. I expect when my children go to school, they get educated. That to me is number one. All that other stuff, playing around, playing ball, no, look, educate my kids. Otherwise, they'll wind up in prison. There was a study out, my daughters, both of them are educators, they went to their, some kind of, I guess some kind of development for teachers that they go through. And what they found out was if a child is not on their third grade reading level in the third grade, that determines how many prison beds we need going forward. I checked the stats of Southeast Delco before I came. I'm quite sure most of you did. 46% proficient in reading. 46%. 22% proficient in math in Southeast Delco. And we're talking about special programs and all that. What about education? Am I wrong to expect my children to get an education? I've had 4 children come through this system, grandchildren. One of them sitting right over there. Should be going to Liberty University this coming fall. Right there. So I ain't just talking education, I believe in it.
Educated.
But I believe it's time that we look at what's really important. Are we educating our kids or not?
We are.
I asked Dr. Butts on the 9th of May. I said, if you talk about money, if I had the money, I've had the money. I said, how much money do you need? He said out of his mouth, and they heard it, he needed $8 million to start educating our kids. Wait a minute, $8 million to start? Which you know you'll never get. So you're telling me as a taxpayer that I'm going to continue to pay more taxes knowing you'll never educate our children. And we sit around and clap and, you know, we get all excited about programs.
School band rap.
Brittany King, 123 Rhodes Avenue, Collingdale, PA. I just wanted to offer my insights on the importance of the elective programs, the special education, and the safety programs. Today I'll be specifically referring to the music since it most relates to me. As an alumni of Academy Park, I realized that music was the most important aspect of my academic career. It provided me with the structure, creativity, and purpose. Music is the reason that I'm now a student at Temple University pursuing music education. This was all made possible through the amazing music program instructed by Christina Gubbage and all the other amazing programs by the staff here. I just wanted to stress the importance of all the elective and creative programs for each and every student in the Southeast Elko School District.
Thank you. Latanya Manson, Deb Jutter, Wendy Andrews, go ahead. Thank you.
Latanya Manson, 1545 Foster Avenue, Darby Township. Got my ID on. On my paper, I said taxes, budget. I'm with Mr. Scott, and I'm the cheerleading coach. And I don't want you to cut it, but at this point, I don't care. Last year, I was right here with y'all. I told y'all it was a catch-22 as an educator and as a taxpayer. I know what the teachers need, and I know what they need in order to do it. This is my 25th year. So, my 24th year as a graduate of Academy Park High School. The education is not the same. Do I like football? I like cheerleading. I like all the programs. The musical, I love the musical. However, the education is not where it's supposed to be. The test scores are not where they're supposed to be, and you get raised taxes. I told y'all last year, my mom can't do $6,000 in taxes, and that's what she's paying. $5,992 for Southeast Elko School District taxes. That's not real estate taxes, that's not county taxes. That's school taxes. And her baby is 43, and I'm standing here. We about to take my nephews up out of here. Why? Because the education is not where it's supposed to be. I need y'all. The kindergarten teachers, they said it best when they were up here. They said, if the staff is happy, then everything else works. I told y'all, it works together. You gotta start from the top. Yes, teachers are not going to educate and do what they're supposed to if they're not happy. So you have to make it, you have to work as a family and get it together. The sports, I think it's Mr. Weber, he said, trust me, if these kids want to play sports and their parents want them to be involved, they gonna come up with the money. Because the only thing that the school district does for the cheerleaders is they buy the uniforms, we get them every 5 years, and then transportation during football season. We haven't done competition in 5 years. So y'all haven't paid for competition. We did do the Navy game. Y'all did pay for that. Other than that, my girls are coming out their pocket $200 every year for cheerleading. So what I'm saying to you is, y'all better find, and I said better, yup, I said it, because God rest my dad's soul. If he was here, he'd have probably fixed y'all budget. But, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, let me say it while I'm walking. I'm gonna need y'all to fix this budget. Get with these school districts that got money, or know how to get the budget together, so that y'all can figure out how to work this, because my mom can't pay $6,000.
Just say your name.
My name is Deborah Jenner, 1029 North Street, Hollandale. I am a Harris parent. I'm also an Academy Park High School teacher, proud, and an educator. Actually, I'm a nationally award-winning educator for raising test scores. So you got that going on at the high school. What we're seeing is a product of not funding. Don't speak about what you don't know if you're not here. I love my kids, and I love my daughter, who is also here. 30 years ago, I actually stood in this very same spot as a student to fight for my teachers' jobs and my fellow students' needs, and to maintain our extracurriculars, our reading programs, and our athletic programs. And it's a shame that 30 years, here I am, a little worse for the wear, but here I am again, a little less dramatic, but still here talking about funding for our kids and our schools and our communities. That's ridiculous. I'm also here as a parent fighting for basic services for my daughter, who I chose to put into Southeast Delco. I chose to come back here. I brought her here because I knew this would be a good place to bring her. I don't want to question that. She needs to be brought up correctly, and she needs the teachers here. She needs this community, and it needs to be done right. She needs to feel safe. She needs the reading interventions. All of this stuff, you already know what we need. And we do need to reach out to our legislators. But we also need you to be on our side. It cannot be us against you. It has to be all of us together. Board, teachers, students, community, all of us. That's what makes us a family. If not, we have nothing.
Hello, Wendy Andrews, 908 Pine Road, Darby Township. I have a daughter that's been attending all throughout her education process in Southeast Delco School District, full-time kindergarten up until now, 10th grade. I was just concerned when we, got the email blast about the upcoming school board meeting and the agenda about the proposed, cuts that could be on the plate. And one of my concerns tonight was that it was mentioned a lot of times that money was asked, but I didn't hear the amount that was asked and how often it was asked. So I just was needing some clarity of the process. Like, was it just asked this school term, last school term, and what was the dollar amount? And like the gentleman said, like a breakdown of what each thing that is being proposed cut, how much is that affecting the upcoming budget? And how soon would these proposed cuts take place in the 2020 school year, the 2021 school year? Because a lot of these students are really worried and are very concerned about their future here within the Southeast Delco district. And as a parent, I'm worried and concerned also. That's it.
Thank you. As a couple additional people come to the mics, and hopefully you can hear me, Kayla McCauley. I may need help. Baden. Sharon Baden, possibly. Anybody? Sure. Would have been, okay, the address is 1102 Chestnut Street, Collindale. That's your address. Sorry. Okay, Kayla? No? Okay. Kathleen Gowro? So just to, as Kathy is coming, just 3 individuals wrote cards. If you're here, you're more than welcome to speak. Maria Jenkins, Sharon Balin, and Kayla McCauley. Okay?
Takes me a little longer to move now than it used to. Getting there. My name is Kathleen Garrow, and although I am not a resident of this community, I did grow up in Norwood. I am the president of the Southeast Delco Education Association, and I have worked for this district for 15 years. I chose to come back to this district. I love my job. I love my kids. I saw a bunch of them as I was coming down there. Oh my gosh. Love my job. I love my kids. When they talked earlier, yes, the school board and the administration and the association have reached out to the elected officials. We need funding. Dave DeLose's office is in Ridley. We were there, and I can give you his number. I can give you his number in Harrisburg as well. We've also reached out to Anthony Williams. We have his number in Philadelphia. We also have his number in Harrisburg. We have reached out via email. The Pennsylvania State Education Association has helped us reaching out to some of these people. We need money. Our teachers work incredibly hard and sometimes really rough circumstances. It's hard to teach 31 first graders. It's hard to teach 31 first graders in a room. We have a staff who chooses to be here, who love what they do, and who love the students that you send to us every single day. And we don't give up. We are down many, many, many staffs. We would love to have 22 kids in each one of our classrooms and educate them accordingly. We do the very, very, very best we can with what we have. We ask you as the parents and the community members to help us help you. Help us to reach out to the legislatures and explain to them how desperate we are. We need money, and our district deserves the same funds that everybody else does, every place across this state. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just, if you filled out a card and didn't speak about an agenda item, let us know now. That's everybody that I have listed in terms of agenda items. Joshua Mitchell, you're listed as a non-agenda. However, you have about programs in the school. So is it agenda this specific, or is it activity proposing something? It's, you're guaranteeing me it's about this agenda? Okay. Then come up to the mic.
The kids.
And I will just confirm, we do have two other cards. Sarah Mobley, which is a non-agenda item listed, and also Nicole Scott, a non-agenda item listed.
Joshua Mitchell, 2062 Kent Road. I just want to say things such as in the musical, like the fundings may be short and we may not have the money, and we have to have fundings. We got to pull the money from somewhere, and you guys are doing an amazing job, and it's not you guys' fault that we don't have the fundings. And the fundings have to come from somewhere. So is there like, can we do more of a like sports-wise, do more to like get out there and try to get scholarships for the kids to go to college-wise, or get fundings for the programs to sponsor them, like sponsorships. Like Bonner and O'Hara, they have sponsorships. Like all their lacrosse teams got sponsored. They have sponsorship. Can we get out there and do something for the sports team? Because if stuff like that gets cut, sports and stuff and after-school programs keep us out of trouble. If you cut the sports and musicals and stuff, what else do we have to do? We're gonna go home, sit on our phone, sit in the house and do what? Nothing. And my mom always says that it takes a village to raise a child. And if we all chip in together, then we can actually make this work. We can actually do something about it. But all of us sitting around and complaining about it isn't going to do anything. We all have to actually play a part in this, and not just sit around and watch it happen. We have to all play a part, because all of us want stuff done. All of us want actions done. Okay, we get that. But what are we going to do to get those things done, to get those actions done? We have to actually go out there. I speak for us. I have an IEP, and I struggle with math and reading. I struggle understanding numbers, and I struggle understanding sometimes words. So if special education is cut, I may not be able to keep up in a regular class. I have social anxiety, and sometimes it's kind of hard for me to adjust to my situation. So if I can't be in a smaller class, then I may not be able to adjust to that situation that I'm in. So I just say, again, it takes a village to raise a child, and everybody's a child in this school. So if we all do something to chip in, maybe we can actually get something done.
Okay, one last comment, and I apologize in advance. Yvonne, juniors?
Juniors.
Okay.
Hi,
People are
my
adding
name is
part.
Yvonne Juniors, 1117 Burton Avenue. I have one daughter that's in Harris that's in the special ed class, and I have one daughter that's in Delphi that do IUP. That's like the gentleman said, without reading the math, where would she be at? She's getting in a lot of trouble because of that. Now I have to go sign for her to get discipline. I'm here with two ladies now. We on a home award school thing. I came here because without my daughter, without the program for my daughter that goes to Harris, what would I do? And anytime the school call me or Rachel call me to go up to school, we're there. Whatever we can provide for Delphi, we do it. But we need more help for parents, everybody here that got kids that's in the special ed. My daughter would not function in a class with 30 kids. She would have a nervous breakdown. She won't, she will. My daughter that's in Delcross is getting in trouble because she's being teased because her reading and her math. She need the help.
Thank you. And then hopefully last on budget related comments, Bishop Glissler Threadgill.
No, they call his name before. She was one of the previous correspondents.
Hi, my name is Bishop Lister Threadgill, Jr. I just want to say this real quickly. We live at 1408 Melrose Avenue here in Sharon Hill, and I am an educator. My wife is an educator as well, and she has actually joined here in the Southeast Delco system. Our son, Glister, when we first moved here, he was the first one that actually, the reason we have the cyber school, it was because of him that it was actually brought to Southeast Delco, because my wife and I, we schooled him at home. And basically through that particular program that we have today, it was able to get him transitioned back to come back into school, because at that time we did not have a lot of the different programs to be able to assist him and help him when we first moved here into Southeast Delco. I say that to say, to hear and look at particular things that are on the agenda, to see that they're being threatened to possibly be cut would be a disservice to all of our students. because of the reading program and different other things sports related. For one, I come from the South, and I'm used to having a lot of things in the community, being able to participate and do various things for our children, and to move here into this particular area, to just look at sports. That really, to put it like this, there's nothing for our young people to do in our community. There's nothing. There's really nothing. They have to go over to other places to do things, and if we start cutting out the sports and any other things, that's a disservice. I really feel that's a disservice. But all the other programs that are in place helps to strengthen them where they're weak, and to help them in their classrooms and to be able to establish what is needed. Yes, there's some other things they need help with, as far as their attitudes and a few other things that need to be adjusted. But that's with all young people. But I feel that if we don't address this or look at it right, we thought GJ would have been the last one to come through. Sarai was our first. She's doing wonderful at A&T. We had GJ, which is, he'll be a senior next year. But we now have a 5-year-old that's coming through again. So I don't really need them to cut that program to a half a day. That would affect us tremendously, because not only would we have to now look for child care, because we're both working parents, that would attack us if the taxes are raised and then half a day, that would really affect us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Let me just read through. It would be a non-agenda. And Nicole Scott is.
This is agenda.
Okay.
If you can just wait 2 minutes.
So my judgment is that's all the comment cards that we have for agenda items. And then any question, I'm going to turn it back to the board president. Let me get the other mic though.
Come on, brother. Crack open that bank account. Drop $2 million.
Let me just say at this time, for those of you who are still here, I know that I can speak for this board. Thank you for coming out. This is what we need, not just because there is a concern. This audience is what we need all the time. Come out, participate, support your children and other children in the district, so that these things don't have to happen. And when it does come up and there's a concern, we can reach out to you and we can sit down and we can help solve these problems maybe before they get to this area where it is right now. So just thank you very much for coming out this evening. We have a few more minutes and then we'll have the non-agenda items and then you can speak.
Madam President.
Yes, Ms. Monroe.
I have a question. Have we ever thought about, I know we have on here to alter or curtail the various items from A to G. Have we thought about, and that could be, the supplemental list? Cutting that supplemental list? Because the students are here speaking about their activities, their after-school activities. Are the staff or the employees of the district willing to forego their supplementals? Have we ever thought about that? I mean, because even the musical gentleman said that we only pay for the salaries. So if we take the salaries away, will the musical staff still be in place to do the musical? So I understand that, people in the audience are looking at the board, making these hard decisions, but they also looking at themselves to make the hard decision as well.
So I understand the question. I don't have a response for that.
Now we're going to do the voting on the agendas. Do I have a motion to approve education 1 through 5?
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve finances 1 through 7?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
No. One no.
No on number 2.
No on number 2.
Wait a minute, what are we saying no to?
No on number 2.
On raising the taxes.
Oh, I'm raising the tax.
On raising the taxes.
Maybe we should do a roll call vote.
Why don't we do a
Roll call vote, please. Dr. Scott,
number 2?
on number 2, under finance.
What's the approved budget?
With the taxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mrs. Forbes? I do not vote. I'll say no. Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Monroe?
No.
Dr. Wilson?
Yes.
Ms. Woodfolk?
No.
Mrs. Irons?
No.
Ms. Harris Johnson?
No.
So here we go.
So let me be clear why I said no.
So we're gonna have another meeting.
As everyone in this room, I'm an educator as well. Do I want programs cut in any educational setting? Absolutely not. However, the constituents of our community are majority senior citizens. And I can't ask a senior citizen to either pay their taxes or be homeless. Morally, I cannot do that. And that is why I'm voting no on this item right now.
Excuse me. I'm an educator, I'm a parent in this district, taxpayer, and my mother lost her home a few years ago. I supported tax cuts before because I'm an educator and I want the best for our students, but I can no longer do this. We have to find another way. And like the last person said, like Joshua said, we have to do this together. So many times this evening, people have said, contact your legislators. We have to leave this room today and contact our legislators.
I as well can't find it in my heart. Last year, we voted to raise taxes to save jobs. And I can't find it in my heart to raise taxes again, and we're asking to cut all these programs. Again, as Ms. Forbes stated, we have to contact our legislators and ask for additional funding.
Oh, this is a proposed budget, the number 2. This is not the end. We are still looking to get more funding and possibly we don't want to cut, okay? We don't want to cut, we don't want to tax, but we all have to be realistic about what's going on. We need that money. It's got to come from the state. They owe it to us. They owe us that money. And that's the reason why I voted yes for a proposed budget, just to get on with it so that we can go after our legislators and tell them we need that money. Give it to us. We deserve it. We have deserved it for years. It's the reason why we had to raise taxes all the time. or cut. So, thank you.
So, I do realize that this is a proposed budget, but if we go with this proposed budget at this time, it's not sending a clear message to our legislators. So I feel that we need to go ahead and we need to reach out again. If you didn't hear me the first time, the second time, or the third time, reach out to your legislators with me. Thank you.
I'd just like to add that two comments that go with Dot's. Oh, mine's not working. Two comments that go along with Dot's. One, that it's a proposed budget, that we have to pass a proposed budget by the end of this month in order to then pass in the state-regulated mandated amount of time the final budget by the end of June, sorry. That's one. Two, I don't agree with raising taxes either, but even for the money that was asked for the state, if we get the 1.5 million or the 2 million, I mean, if we're lucky, that's still with raising the taxes that we don't cut anything. We didn't even ask for enough that we can't raise taxes because we knew we wouldn't get that much. We asked for the minimum. We can't beg for any more right now. So what I'm saying is that even if we magically got 2 million, we'd still have to raise the taxes. So not voting right now is just going to waste our time and time we could be using calling the legislators rather than sitting here in future meetings while we try to pass this in the next week. Thank you.
Dr. Wilson, with all due respect, we are elected officials, so we freely put our name on the ballot to be a school board member. So wasting your time, I don't think you shouldn't have used that statement, because these are the people who voted for us to be on the school board. So I know you're frustrated.
No.
I am as well. However, but when you say things like that, people perceive it differently.
I meant using our time sitting here fighting in a meeting when we could be sitting and calling and talking to these people that we need to talk to. So wasting it doing one thing when we should be doing the other.
Thank you. Ms. Forbes, do you have something to say? Mrs. Forbes.
Here's what I'm saying.
I got you. That's it.
So as was highlighted, the reality is the proposed budget is moving us forward to the next step. The final budget would be adopted, planned to be adopted June 27th. A lot of work needs to take place. The fund balance in the proposed budget, use of approximately $2.1 million, I've indicated is not acceptable. We cannot afford it. Our fund balance will not be at that level. The realities with the tax increase is any decrease in that means an increase in the use of fund balance and needing to do additional reductions. My estimation is the tax increase would be about $1.1 million. So therefore, the deficit would be close to $3.3 million in additional reductions. I provided to the board, we had conversations about the realities of reductions, of what it would take to get close to $2 million in reductions. On tab 8 in your budget packet, there's a listing of programs. Second page, first page talks about changes that took place between April and May. With additional revenue put into the budget in terms of real estate transfer tax, earnings on investment, refunds of prior year expenditures, and also the state share of the retirement contribution to the tune of about $1 million of additional revenue. Having said that, the following page, the second page in item H, indicates that the deficit in the proposed budget was around $2 million at that time, $2,100,000. The reductions to get a $2 million reduction would be a class teacher at DTS, a class teacher at Delcroft, a second class teacher at Delcroft, a class teacher at Harris, a class teacher at Sharon Hill, a class teacher, second class teacher at Sharon Hill, a class teacher at the kindergarten center, an intervention position at one of the other schools, a reading intervention position at DTS, Darby Township School, a reading intervention position at Delcroft School, a reading intervention position at Harris School, a reading intervention position at Sharon Hill School, Academy Park High School core content position teacher, Academy Park High School core content / elective position, Academy Park High School elective position, a administrative position, support staff position 5 in the areas of PCA, personal care assistants, or aides, support staff position, personal care assistant / aides in transportation 5, support staff position, maintenance, grounds, building, a pupil services position, another sports staff position that is a singleton and therefore not named. We would still need an additional $261,000 in reductions. By estimation, that would result in a total of 9 furloughed positions, professional and/or administrative positions. They're the items that were highlighted at a meeting, special budget meeting, May 9th. Realities are the proposed budget has a deficit. A proposed budget without a tax increase would have a larger deficit. The cuts provided would be if we're balancing the budget without additional revenues. If we choose not to put local taxes, we are in effect then increasing the deficit to $3+ million, and additional reductions would need to be considered. I am completely aware that we are attempting to advocate for additional funding. We do have to, however, adopt a proposed budget. That is the responsibility of the school board. It is the responsibility of administration to make recommendations. Right now, my recommendation has been consistent in terms of recommending moving a proposed budget process. The options in terms of voting right now, we have voted the agenda in finance. We would have to do an additional agenda item, change to the agenda, or reconvene at a later date.
1. Do I have a motion to approve human resource items 1 through 9?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve policy items 1 through 5?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve property item 1?
So moved.
Aye.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Dr. Wilson, do you have a report on the Delaware County Community College?
No, nothing new to report today.
Ms. Monroe, do you have a report on the Delaware County Intermediate Unit?
No, ma'am. Not this time.
Mrs. Forbes, do you have a report on the PSBA Legislative Council?
We had the annual PSBA Legislative Council breakfast with school board members and legislators on May the 17th, last Friday. It was a great breakfast. Representative Maria Donatucci was in attendance. I did speak to her in regards to funding, and the topic of this breakfast was the cyber charter schools. Ms. Darcy Gallagher has already spoken to you about it. Just do some more research. I won't take up any more of your time.
Thank you. Mrs. Irons, do you have a report on the Parent-Student Advisory Committee?
Yes, I'll try to make this as quick as possible. We did meet on the 8th at 6 p.m. Mr. Baxter and Ms. Hudson was there and gave us a lot of suggestions. Our next meeting is going to be July 25th, 7:30 in the morning and at 9. It's the last day of summer school for the children over at Darby Township. So we will be meeting those 2 times, giving parents 2 times to pick from. The things we did around the district the things we did around the districts, April 29th, I attended award ceremony for Holly Ciderone. She was selected by the Delaware County Local Task Force to receive the 2019 Making a Difference Award, and she was nominated by both staff and parents. So I wanted to congratulate her, and it was a wonderful event. On the May 4th, I did attend a district musical. On the 7th, I came to the Poetry 101 slam they had here. I actually missed it because I had a final that day, and I tried to run over here to see it. It had ended a little early. And let me see. On 5/8, I went to the Reader's Water Ice fundraiser for the Kindergarten Center. On May the 10th, I went to the Darby Township Chuck E. Cheese night. On the 14th, I attended the spring, the concert here. It was a wonderful, fabulous concert. Thank you, Ms. Muller and Mrs. Covage for your outstanding work. On the 16th, I attended the VOTEC senior. It was a graduation ceremony also held in Aston. Last night, I attended the senior awards night for the class of 2019 here. And then today, I did stop in the cheerleading tryouts. Thank you, Ms. Manson, and look forward to hearing who made the team. I did contact the administrators to ask who we could give shout outs to. Before I do that, I would like to say thank you to Ms. Sacrenti, Ms. Deb Jeter McPhee, Ms. Elizabeth Burns, and Mr. Rob McPhee for all their hard work with the Poetry 101 group. Let me see. For Darby Township School, there was a 3rd grade student, Sydney Barley. She won the J.P. Mascaro and Sons Respect Program Star Student of the Year Award. Sydney will be presented with an award for $250 and on June the 12th at a dinner. She also will be able to donate $250 to the charity of her choice, and she has chosen Providence Animal Shelter. I also want to highlight Miss Brittany Chrisman from Darby Township School. She was selected as Sun East Charitable Foundation's Best Teacher under the Sun Award for 2018-2019 school year. Ms. Chrisman was nominated for her outstanding achievements and efforts to inspire and motivate students. Ms. Chrisman has demonstrated excellence in creating a positive learning environment for the students. For Sharon Hill School, I wanted to highlight 4 teachers, Ms. McFillin, Ms. Kirk, Ms. McNulty, and Ms. Toth. They were awarded school supplies by the Kids in Need Foundation, and they received them on May 3rd at an assembly, and I do believe Action News was there. Also at Sharon Hill School, Miss Michelle Stevenson, she won a grant from the Target Field Trip Grant, and the Franklin Institute will be coming there to present hot and cold for an assembly for 4th grade classes. I believe it is tomorrow at 9 a.m. Also at Sharon Hill, Mr. Chambers and Mr. Long, want to recognize them for the jump rope for hearts, Hoop for Hearts event that took place on Wednesday. I want to highlight Heather Thomas and Aaron Powers for moving student levels using the Read 180 program, always willing to step in and help a colleague in need. Mr. Keith Martinez, going above and beyond job description. He serves as a mentor to some Sharon Hill students, pouring words of wisdom and assisting students who need to make better choices. At Harris School, we would like to highlight Ms. Holbert, Ms. Federico, Ms. Silverman, Mr. Pearson, and Ms. Zenitis for their dedication and students of the Harris School and their hard work. At Delcroft, we would like to highlight Mr. Stephanus and Ms. Toner for their dedication and hard work. Now to the high school, I would like to highlight the tech crew. Tech crew has been working nonstop, primarily by themselves, getting us through programs, and I would like to give them a round of applause. All the tech crew, thank you so much. Thank you for the teachers that are here tonight helping, and we do appreciate you. And last but not least, staff at Academy Park High School. We'd like to highlight Mr. Kevin Greto for all his help with the Power School system this year. Mrs. Lewis, who's our support staff. Ms. Hamilton, as we said earlier, she is retiring. Mr. Jones for helping and running the ASA program. Ms. McCauley and Ms. DeAnnabelle, Southeast Delco Spotlight. And as I said earlier, Mr. Crenting, Ms. Jenner, Ms. Burns for Poetic 101, and Ms. Muller and Ms. Covage for the wonderful job they do every day with the music and band students. And this concludes my report. The date of the next meeting will be July the 25th at 7:30 a.m., 7:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. at Darby Township School. Ms. Hudson came up with the idea that it's the last day of summer school for the children. They have a program that last day, so we might be able to catch some of the parents. We will be having a mailing going out to let parents know, as well as, I believe, sending the flyer home for the end of the year packets. Madam President, this concludes my long report.
She said it was going to be short.
She said she was gonna try to keep
I was
it
trying.
short. Trying.
I was
Trying.
trying. And guess what? I went to all these events.
You did a
I'm
great
sure
job.
she did. She went to all those events. Bless her.
Yes, absolutely.
Anything else to say?
1 minute, please. Sweetheart, we're going to get you.
because they haven't approved it for going.
After 10.
Short meeting.
11 after 10.
I'm so tired.
What do you think, this job's easy?
I'm tired. You're tired?
I'm so tired.
Oh, you don't have to tell us about meetings.
I'm tired.
It's 31 days.
I think I'm going to the bathroom.
I hope they kept it open. I hope it's not locked.
Proposed budget. If we're gonna do the final, it's 27th, right? It went, they all jumped in.
I said, I hope it's not locked.
You just take the taxes, stop those budget tonight. We could have amended it, just took the tax out and adopted it for the 85 million. So we're gonna get 2.2 million. Yeah.
Board members,
Yes. We're listening.
We're here. We haven't left.
there is some concern about the budget and it need that
Kid, there's some concern.
we need to meet ASAP on this budget. I can adjourn the meeting tonight, and if everyone is available for tomorrow, we could meet tomorrow or Tuesday.
Tomorrow, Saturday.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You don't want to come Monday. This is the holiday weekend. So it have to be no later than Tuesday. We have to meet.
Can't do tomorrow.
We do Tuesday.
Can't do tomorrow.
So if you do Tuesday, you have to move.
So this meeting would be, we would continue the meeting, reconvene it. We would not,
Adjourn this table in a minute.
we could recess until tomorrow, or
Can't do tomorrow.
we can do it on Tuesday.
Saturday, Sunday.
But if we do meet on Tuesday, then the actual board meeting would have to be moved to June the 20th. 28th. Friday, that is correct.
If it's the 28th, I can't come. I'll be away. Do it without me.
So how many can meet tomorrow? All those who can meet tomorrow, raise your hand, please.
Tomorrow? Anybody tomorrow?
Okay. How many can meet on Tuesday?
We lost somebody. I can't. Oh, Tuesday? I can do Tuesday. I can do Saturday, Sunday.
I can do Saturday.
Saturday, Sunday.
You want to meet on Saturday?
The 27th,
What time Saturday?
28th, the 29th.
I have to meet after 5 o'clock.
After the holiday, right? Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna go with my,
So Tuesday?
well, yeah, Tuesday would be this.
Day after, yeah, the holiday.
Mondays.
You're in the wrong place.
I just can't meet tomorrow. Any other day but tomorrow. I have way too much work. I've lost so much work.
How many can meet tomorrow night?
Can you meet tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night.
I'm gonna go to the poetry.
I'd rather do it tomorrow night.
To try and
That's
find a
two.
day when everybody
I can do it
voted
3.
against it, we gotta
can't.
do it.
I can't do tomorrow.
No one down there can do it tomorrow night, to my right?
Well, I guess they, I don't know, they all can, I guess. I can't. I can't because of my job.
I have to be there tomorrow night.
All right. What about Saturday?
No Saturday.
Saturday's fine.
It would have to be after 5 for me.
Fine.
Yeah.
Saturday after 5.
What time, 5 o'clock? What,
6:30?
No.
6 o'clock, 6:30?
Yeah.
So we have 1. Okay, all right. Okay, let's start it.
All right, Saturday at 6:30.
Sharon, Sheree, myself, Raquel, Ed, and, no, I think Tammy, okay. So that's 7 of us. Okay, then we're gonna do it on Saturday at 6:30. That's this Saturday at 6:30 at the ESC building. Please, everyone who said they are coming, please be there.
Okay.
I'd like to make, Mr. Butch, do you have an administrative update? Thank you.
Do away with the administrative update.
I just want to acknowledge, we did approve on HR, the retirement of Melanie Brown Carney, the art teacher at Darby Township School. She has been employed in the district for the last 20 years.
Yes.
So there possibly is one additional non-agenda item. Nicole Scott? She left. Okay. So we will reach out to her about her item.
This meeting will be adjourned until tomorrow. I mean, Saturday.
Saturday.
And I have to have a motion to adjourn this meeting until Saturday, May 25th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m.
I move that we recess this meeting until Saturday, May 25th at 2019 at 6:30 p.m. in the ESC building.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The other meetings is Committee of the Whole meeting, which is Thursday, June 20th, 2019 at 6 p.m. Board business meeting is Friday, June 28th at 7. Okay, I'm sorry. The board meeting can be Thursday, June 27th, 2019 at 7 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, I'm sorry, we're not adjourning. Good night, everyone, for coming. This is a continuation of the meeting that we had on Thursday, May 23rd, 2019, on the concern of the proposed budget, finance item number 2. And at this time, we can continue that discussion.
I move to reconsider the budget item.
Do I need a second?
I second that.
So the entire board agrees, consider for that. Oh, I need to take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam President, can we just acknowledge who is here for this second part of the meeting? So that we
We're going to
can.
do a roll call.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Dr. Scott, may I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Forbes? Present. Mrs. Gallagher?
Present.
Mr. McBride?
Present.
Ms. Monroe?
Present.
Ms. Peter Coey?
Present.
Dr. Wilson?
Here.
Ms. Woodfolk?
Excused.
Dr. Butts?
Present.
Mr. Diorio? Mrs. Irons?
Present.
Ms. Harris Johnson?
Present. Thank you.
I move to reconsider the motion.
Oh, we did that.
Mm-mm.
Oh, we did?
Oh,
Okay, I second.
over.
I second.
Well, I think this,
Oh, the-
this motion was to move,
I'm sorry. Let me say it again. Let me restate my motion for you. I move to reconsider
To approve.
I move to reconsider approved motion of the budget.
I second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay.
No, we're gonna do questions.
Yeah, if the board, excuse me. What has just occurred, as I explained the process before, there was a motion to reconsider that passed, and now the motion that was voted on negatively at the on the Thursday session, that's now before the board. It's been moved and seconded. We don't take a vote on that until the board completes discussion. If the board wants to discuss that motion, then the president would call, when discussion is completed, the president would call for a vote on that motion, just like the president did on Thursday night.
Would we do a roll call?
I think that would be appropriate, yes.
Do a roll call.
We're reconsidering the proposal that we did on Thursday.
Do you have a question, Tammy?
Mr. Diorio said that we would have discussion first, or are we voting? Are we having discussion first before we vote again?
If the board wishes to discuss it, the motion is now before the board for consideration, for discussion or vote, whatever the board prefers.
Okay.
So yes, if you'd like to discuss it, absolutely.
As written on the agenda.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Okay.
Anybody got any comments? I'll make a comment about the agenda item that's on the agenda, which has to do with the proposed final budget, which has a tax increase. Was in it for what was our tax increase? 3.4. I myself have found this process to be it's always very difficult this time of year, balancing the budget. We need everyone to understand that budget increases are not something that the board, or that I shouldn't say, that I like to do. I do not like to do budget increases. Unfortunately, the way things are with the federal government, state government, and our local municipality that are in our district, things are tough. And we need to, unfortunately, raise taxes. This budget is very difficult I know a lot of people are concerned. So am I with seniors, with fixed income people. I am too. But when it comes right down to it, our community, we have to educate our children. And unfortunately, in this day and age, that costs a lot of money. We are, and I have to admit, the board is trying, and administration is trying very hard to find ways of balancing this budget. Hence why we had the board meeting at the school. We wanted people to come out. We wanted them to be aware of the situation, and they were. And we had people come, and we had people talk. I personally do not know what the answer is. I'm hoping the state steps up, but unfortunately, it's going to require some tax increase. And I just hope that people understand that we're here to educate the children. It's the whole reason that you have a school district and schools, is to educate the children. And I hope the board, understands that too. And I hope this motion passes. And so we can sit down and figure out what else we're going to do. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.
Yes. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Got it. Want to? So I'd like to thank Mr. Tony Scott for coming out to this meeting, our recess meeting. It was wonderful at Academy Park to see so many people there, but it would have been nice to see more than just Mr. Tony Scott here, but I do thank him for coming tonight. I'm an educator, I'm a parent, taxpayer, all those things that I said on Thursday night. I do not want to raise taxes. We've done it for the last 2 years. I don't want to raise taxes again. I do know that, I have a child in the school district. I love all the kids in our school district. I want them to get everything that they need. First and foremost, I want them to be educated properly. But it's hard. It's so hard to have to sit here and make the decision to raise taxes. It's unfortunate that our state legislators are not giving us the money that we need. So with that being said, that's just how I feel at this moment, and I will not tell you. Thank you.
As I stated several times before, so that the community would understand about this vote, this is a proposed vote. This is not the final vote. And we still will meet in the month of June as a board with special meetings in order to reconsider or to find some way or a way of finding some additional money for this deficit that we're in through the finances that we have in the district. So voting
on this proposed budget tonight, I just want the community to understand this is not our final vote. That vote will be in June, which is next month. And just like it has been said by several people, I can speak for the board. In reality, none of us want taxes to be increased. None of us. And as it was stated by Ed McBride, we were all voted on here for the school district to do what we are supposed to do. That is our responsibility. And it is hard to make a decision now on which way you should go. It's like a devil's advocate. Either way you go, it's not going to be a happy medium between either one of them. So we all have to just meet together and to talk about this budget so that we can come to some kind of an understanding as a board, mutual agreement. And I hope that will be done by our meeting in June. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to have a statement or make any comments at this time?
Hi, I do want to just acknowledge the fact that I do appreciate Mr. Tony being here as well. And I understand and also acknowledge his concern around having answers for the why around why, increasing the budget. Oftentimes from, a community perspective, just saying that we need more money isn't a good answer. Just saying that we want to educate our kids isn't a good answer. And so I think sometimes we might want to dig a little deeper and come up with some explanations around how do we explain that to our constituencies, and how do you explain that to them in a way that makes sense? Besides, good education, besides we're not getting the money. So how do we do that? So maybe we can become a little more creative around answering that question. So I want to put that out there and just challenge us to think about that when we're going back and we're looking at the budget more realistically.
Oh, I wasn't going to say anything, but thank you, Vernell. That you really put that in a good perspective, because we're here, we see the bills. I, in particular, see the bills all the time. And I guess sometimes we just figure, well, all right, you elected us to do the job, so we're trying to do the job as best we know how. When I go to a business, I expect the business to be run. If I go to a bank, I expect them to run it. So I always, as a constituent up until like 10 years ago, I just figured that the people on the school board, we elected them and that they would do the best for us. I didn't always agree with that, but I think maybe we better do a better job of explaining. I don't know how to do it either. I've often said that we need a publicity agent because sometimes especially our high school gets a bad rap. And I know they do because I was at that, the honors. We were, Mrs. Irons and I were there, and there were so many students, and they just did these unbelievable job of acquiring their grants and their scholarships and their awards, all the work and all that they put into it. And there were many, many of these seniors that did that. Just made me so proud. And I don't want to let them down. I want the juniors and the sophomores and the elementary school kids to be able to get a good education. And I am a political person. have been for years. And I am fully disgusted with our senators and legislators. I know, and when I say that, I'm talking about on the whole. I'm not talking about like one person or one senator or one legislator. On the whole, they don't seem to be able to look around and outside of their own district. Somehow we're going to have to convince them that we do need this extra money. We need it. There's no getting around it. I thank you, and I thank my other, and I thank my friend here.
Are there any other comments from the board? Okay, at this time, I would like to call for a vote on the proposed budget.
Which was
That-
number 2 under
Number two
Number
under
2 under
finance.
finance.
And Dr. Scott, would you do a roll call, please?
Mrs. Forbes?
Yes.
Mrs. Gallagher?
Yes.
Mr. McBride?
Yes.
Ms. Monroe?
Abstaining.
Ms. Peter Coe?
Yes.
Dr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Irons?
Yes.
Ms. Harris Johnson?
Yes.
The vote passes with 7 yes and 1 abstain.
Thank you. And that, Dr. Butts?
So under administrative reports, I did not have a report. I needed to. We've had a number of executive sessions since the April meeting. We had an executive session following our committee of the whole meeting. We also had an executive session the week before during our special meeting. Both of those were to discuss negotiations and personnel. The committee of the whole meeting also had a discussion around safety security after it in executive session. We had an executive session prior to the board meeting on Thursday, and also an executive session prior to this reconvened meeting, both to discuss negotiations and the impact of some of the items related to the budget on negotiations and our association personnel. So just wanted to highlight those executive sessions. Also, for the board, I would urge Ms. Monroe or anybody else, if you want to take it with you, that will be fine. Under tab M and N, so tab M has the information related to supplementals that was provided to the board back in January. That is the first 6 or 7 pages, maybe 8. More importantly, the last 3 pages has a listing of the supplementals that we have. The first page and a half are related to athletics throughout the district. The estimated cost of those supplementals is right around $261,000. The supplemental for everything else that the district has is the third page there, and that has approximately $93,000 in supplemental cost for a total of $355,000. The one item I do have a question mark after is the mentor of teachers on that page, and that's simply because we have multiple teachers depending on new teachers that come in the district. So I did not estimate how much it costs for our mentors, but I can get that if somebody wants it. So was in your tab M. If you take it, that's fine. Just either bring it back or I can replace it later on so you have it. Under the last tab, tab N, as in Nancy, is a letter, and I'm pretty sure this is not the final version that I sent out. I made some changes when I got home last night. It was mailed out today. The changes are minor. It doesn't change the gist of this. It's a letter to Secretary Rivera, just highlighting the possibility of alteration and curtailments of programs, and my concerns about that. It is addressed to Secretary Rivera. I've copied Governor Wolf, Senator Williams, Representative Del Oso, and Representative Donatucci on that. So you can see what was provided to, or something very close to what was provided in reference to one of the items we voted on, which was alterations and curtailments of programs. I do intend middle of next week to actually follow up with the secretary. I do have a interaction already planned that I know he will be at, so I will have a follow-up with him at that time. Madam President, that's everything I have to say about administration.
Thank you, Dr. Butz. And I'm going to read the next meeting so that everyone will understand. This is special board meeting still will be on Thursday, June 13, 2019 at 6 p.m. Committee of the Whole will be Thursday, June 20, 2019 at 6 p.m. The board business meeting will be Thursday, June 27, 2019 at 7 p.m. Now, may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.